Well, here we are, folks. I'm not sure what just happened to Ron. Here he comes. Here he comes. Anyway, welcome to Wild and Weird Radio Live. It's a live show, so anything can happen, including whatever this was.
I don't know what's going on. It's happened twice now. So everyone keep watching and let us know if anything happens on your end that's kind of weird. Welcome to Wild and Weird Radio Live, obviously. Yeah, we're not sure. We're not sure what's going on here. But
yeah, I had some issues with my PC just in general. I started the boot at 8:52 and it just got up to where it would let me get into the browser.
Yeah, well, this thing has shut down 3 times now, and that's from StreamYard, not from the PC.
Oh,
so
man.
let
Nancy,
us know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. Yeah,
So, folks, keep an eye if the video starts getting squirrely or the audio starts getting weird, or weirder than what it is. Just let us know. Nancy, thank you. You guys are what keep this thing moving.
Okay, I to restart the computer completely, guys. So
yeah, go ahead and hop off real quick and see if that helps.
Hopping off.
I'll keep them entertained.
Yeah, I'm hopping off right now.
And so will the Sky Daddy. Yeah, mine had a major update, I guess. It's the only thing I can think, and it's just been acting squirrely. So everybody, hope you've all had a fantastic week. We're all getting ready for the 4th of July here. Hopefully one of you in the audience is not going to be one of the few Americans across the country who is going to be spending the last day with all 10 digits. Hopefully you guys all are doing fine and you have a very safe and enjoyable 4th of July weekend. It's going to be a good one. It's actually the weather here in our region looks like it's going to be playing ball until Monday or so. And by region, I'm looking, it looks like it's going to be halfway decent across the board. Hopefully you all are able to get out and enjoy some stuff and enjoy being out. Oh man, West Virginia Bigfoot Project. Thank you guys so much. Again, this stuff is starting to build up and go towards the October meetings, giveaways, and food and everything. So thank you. It's interference from Joe's shirt. Yeah, it is very loud. It is indeed. Hope you guys are doing good out there though. So once Ron gets in here, LR, man, thank you. You guys are killing it. I'm sure there's a goal set at around 10 or so for, and that's any denomination. It doesn't have to be large denominations. Doesn't have to be anything, just whatever the bare minimum to get your. Ron just dropped out again. There's something going on, I think, with his internet browser. Ooh, I glitched right there. Interesting. Yeah, they're having some yeah, that thunderstorm system is going to be reaching us here around Monday. It's Sunday night into Monday mornings when it's showing it's going to get here. There, Enzo. How's everybody doing? You got any good news? I know we have some stuff that we're going to cover once Ron gets in the house, and we're going to be covering quite a bit because it's been a somewhat busy news week. There was some stuff that came out on Ross Coulhart's show, Reality Check. There's some information that, again, we've covered here in the past, but this is some new connections to certain things. We're going to touch that. But I'll go ahead and get everybody welcomed in here. We've got Donna Ho out there. What's going on, Donna? West Virginia Bigfoot Project, obviously. James Nelson. What's going on, James? We've got Dances hanging out here. Jordan Booker. What's up? LR, of course, is here. Then Linda Sigmund. Hey, everybody. How you doing, Linda? Hope you're having a good start to your weekend here. And then we've got JB. What's up, JB? Good to see you. We've got Larry Hoses in the house. Uveru's here. Enzo's here. Ada Cox. We've got Jen. What's up, by the way, Jen? I got a chance to get your stuff out there today. I use a third-party guy for FedEx because he's a local business. He's going to email me your shipping info, and then I'll get it out to you. Then we've got Gary Schuler here. And we've got yeah. Ron got beamed up apparently. My computer was what was having issues for me. I'm not sure what's going on over on Ron's side. Larry says someone doesn't want the truth to get out. Right. That's what it seems like. Then we've got, let's see. I think I got everybody in the house. Hopefully, I see Ron popping in here. Hopefully, he's here to stay this time. All right.
We'll see, man.
There we go. We got everybody welcomed in. We've got 4 now. We're up to four gifts here that people have given to the next meeting and donated towards. So Ada Cox, thank you. This one's for you.
We have 6 more to go on the official tally of 10. However, here's a good question. We're going to be getting some more prizes for you guys.
Yeah.
What might you be interested in? Because this is where it's going. It's going to the meeting for the food and whatnot. And the leftovers go to the prizes. Yeah. So let us know. What would you like out of the equipment boxes that we could go together and get for you? So
Gary Schuler coming in. What's going on, Gary? Thanks, man. Appreciate you, brother. So yeah, what are some things you guys would like to see in the the giveaway this go around? Ron has been abducted once more. We've done audio recorders. We've done a Geiger counter, a 4K action cam. Here's Ron. Ron's back.
Yeah, it's just a status breakdown. That's the only error code I get. So I don't know what that is, but we're definitely going to be bringing this up.
Is your internet up to date? Your browser?
It's all the same, man. This is something going on with this. I don't know what.
I'm not having issues with this, is what I'm saying. Like I
know. That's the weird part. That's the weird part. So I don't know.
We might have to have him come in on a phone or something. So another Geiger counter. You guys would like to see another Geiger counter out there? A trail camera? Yeah, we could put together a trail camera, I'm sure. So we got more recorders, another Geiger counter, trail cam. Those are all things that we can throw towards. Absolutely. Yeah, we could, especially now trail cams have become somewhat affordable, and for like a really good one, you can actually get a pretty decent trail cam now. Oh yeah, big flashlight. That would be nice. We almost got you a big flashlight this last round, but there was a sale that ran on the action cam, and we jumped on that 4K action cam because it was a pretty significant sale compared, and it came out being just a little bit more than what the big flashlight was. So we've got some ideas here, Ron. They've a big, like a powerful flashlight, a trail cam, Geiger counters, more audio recorders. So those are all really good. Jen, UV light, and the UV light. I know a guy that builds them. Ron has one of the ones that was built by him. Russ Jones carries one that was built by him, and he builds them mostly for the rock and gym people. But I have all.
I don't have one.
I thought you had one. Well, you should, Ron. But yeah, it's a really good UV light, and it's very powerful. We can definitely do one of those. We can do a UV light for sure. LR, we are definitely going to be hawking on Prime days and looking for something there. If it keeps giving you fits, try to jump in on your. I'm gonna see if he can jump in on his phone. So, but yeah, LR prom days are coming up next week. We're going to be keeping an eye out there to see if we can catch any killer deals. We a lot of the stuff that this falls, the research gear falls in, doesn't really get super prom dealy, but sometimes it does. Good prom deal on night vision, but not yes. If we can find a good set of night vision binoculars like we had for the first meeting, something that would be able to be doable without eating the whole budget, then yeah, absolutely. Then it's the Glow and Joe show tonight, right? That's about what it's like, Ada. It feels that way. Luckily I have the chops and we can hang for at least a while. I know I can at least ham it up for an hour. But it'd be nice. Because we had some news segments here that we were going to pull from and work on. Now Tony's in the house. What's up, Tony? Let's see. Yeah, those are all some really. I'm actually gonna jot those down in a notepad real quick here on Google, and diddly. Make a note. Yes, I am using Gemini to do this, folks. So make a note. Use night vision binoculars, trail cams, audio recorders, UV light, bright flashlight, Geiger counter, close note. There we go. Miss Trackway's here. How are we doing, Miss Trackway? Good to see you there. Yes, if everybody here is currently joining us now, we are running a one-man show currently. Ron is having some major issues with the server tonight. Not sure what's going on there, but we are plugging along nonetheless. Let's see what we have over here. None of the news was loaded into here, so it must all been on his computer. Here we go. Here's some of the articles. The videos just aren't loaded up. All right, let's see. So I'm sure this was one we showed last week. I'm sure you guys remember seeing this. This was down south. Have you seen the bits from people finding fragments so far? It has popped up periodically over the week where some people, there was one chunk that was very nice. It was about the size of a baseball that I saw recovered. Those things are going to be a mint, I'm sure. Then we've got IR booster light. Yeah, we could do IR booster. Those really aren't that expensive either. We could probably get a couple of those, especially for folks who run like who have a low light camera. Be good. All right, let's see if this browser update fixes it.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, the browser, if your browser isn't up to date, StreamYard does not like it. It's so finicky. I've had issues with it in the past.
Yeah, it typically updates on its own, but apparently it did not. It did have an update.
Mine makes me update it manually, but it's a setting that I have.
Do you get a notice that tells you that? Because
yes,
I got nothing.
It shows up in the top right-hand corner beside the bookmarks.
Okay.
And that's the only notice. Like sometimes if I open the browser, it'll show up like if it's on a page that requires the update.
Yes.
The actual application, like say Facebook or eBay, they'll have a little bubble that says, please update your browser, But I'll put a note in for StreamYard for sure that they need to add.
But yeah, we need to know if there's an issue with, updates. Yep. I would think that.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something that they should add in a bubble marker. So Well, Ron, PKE meter with the arms on the side like Spangler used. Ron has one of those, oddly enough. But it's actually a licensed Ghostbuster prop. But it does work. It does work. There is a mode to switch it on and use it as a real EMF meter. That's not Ron. Did you just see how it was on the wrong side at first? It's not Ron. He's been replaced by the MIB. Gary Schuler, Windows 11. Yeah, I think Ron just updated to Windows 11. I know that we've been having major issues with it at work. It's been what's been keeping me busy for the last 3 weeks is trying to put out all the Windows 11 fires. So another little snippet that we've had out here in the media recently. Speaking of the space debris, is we have a new Enigma coming in. A FOIA response reveals that contact between AARO and Enigma Labs details remain largely redacted. Now, anybody who's a member of Enigma, I'm one of them. If you've downloaded the app on your phone, Enigma, to report UFO sightings, apparently all of those are being dumped into the AARO database, based off what I understand. We're going to get into some more of that here shortly. If Ron can get logged in here and join us. But that one's going to be interesting. Another little tidbit that we're going to be running over with you guys is this interstellar object. We have a new interstellar object that's going to be on its way. This is the object that's been dubbed A11PL3Z. To me, that just means strike us, please. That's the way I read that. Anyway, it appears to be moving too fast and straight to have originated in the solar system. If confirmed, it will be the third interstellar visitor ever spotted. If it sounds familiar, it's because Oumuamua was the second. Now, this is generally, we don't have these interstellar visitors, i.e. objects, coming into our solar system that regularly. However, we do now. Oumuamua was just a few years ago, and now we have another one coming back. Let's see. Jordan says, I would take a selfie and yell's autograph as a prize. I'm a whatever, man. You'd get more than that. Promise you that. Let's see. Is he here to stay?
I'm not hopeful, but we'll see.
So it's Schrodinger's Ron. Is he here? Is he not? We don't know.
A little bit of both, man. I don't know what's happening.
Enzo says he's not surprised at all if AARO is scraping all of that data from Enigma. I personally have been using an Enigma, and here's that article here. I'm going to go ahead. We're just going to start rolling down on this article and getting that information out here. So in a new batch of documents obtained by the Black Vault, the Department of Defense has realized direct communications between the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office and Enigma Labs, a private company working in the UAP research space. The release stems from a FOIA request by the Black Vault in January of 2023 and finalized in July 3rd of 2025. Under case number 23F0711, the documents include 50 pages of emails and internal correspondence, many of which are redacted, shedding a little light on early coordination between the government's UAP investigation office and the outside technology partners. Now, to explain a little bit about what Enigma is and how this system works, it is a reporting database, right? And the way it starts, I'm just going to open it up and let you see it. The way it starts is kind of similar to any social media, right? It opens up and you've got a news feed of videos that people have loaded into the system. And these are all sightings, okay? And they're popping up, and you can validate the ones that are good and not. I've been using it to kind of comb through, but if you want to share one, all you have to do is you start a report. And when you start the report, it opens up, it lets you upload any media that you want to use. And then it asks you the location and where the sighting occurred, any details that you can have. And if you saw this at your personal address, it can obscure your address. So that way you don't have local UFO hunters showing up out here. Now, what I find the most interesting is that if you upload a video, it doesn't automatically fall into the news feed. The only thing that goes in the news feed are things that seemed to be appropriate. Because I've loaded several of our videos to this because they're published. They're out there. It's public information. So why not, right? It's one of these things where I was curious to see where it went. Now, I have also used it to try to track down sightings in our region. Unfortunately, not many people in Appalachia are using this, at least not in our section of Appalachia. There's folks up in Vermont and down in the Western Carolinas and such that are using it, but that's about it. I'm not seeing a whole bunch of people. Most of the folks that are using this seem to be out in the city somewhere. So it's just pretty. It's just so, if that makes sense. Like the in-house usability is a lot to be desired of. It to be completely honest, Reddit is still 10 times better at finding UFO reports than this. But whatever Enigma Labs is doing, it seems to be the AARO is, or at least was, in cooperation with these folks on collecting reports. Now, what this just in conspiracy update, right? Both AARO and Enigma sound like an evil spy group I heard about in my super spy shoe phone, right? It does really, really sound that way. Now, what do you guys think about this? Because this is an open app. This is a public app, and you have confirmation that a government entity has been tapping all of this and pulling all that information. I mean, yeah, sure, great. Not many people are reporting directly to AARO, but like they should be, because AARO needs to be absolutely inundated with all of these reports, because up until now they just seem to want to shrug it all off and swamp gas it away, right? So the app isn't well known yet. Yeah, it's been on a swell though here in the last year to year and a half, because it was featured on a couple TV programs. West Virginia Bigfoot Project says I don't trust those apps. Yeah, I mean, you don't have a reason to trust any of them, to be completely honest. Every one of them's just sapping up data as much as they can. Lisa Galvin, good to see you. Thanks for joining in. Our co-host Ron here, he's having some internet issues, and so it's just the Glow and Joe show tonight right now until Ron can get his issues over on that end resolved. So bear with us, hang in. It feels a little bit different because we're just trying to stay above water at the moment. But wasn't MUFON caught selling off some of their sightings a while back? I vaguely remember hearing something about that. And I thought that MUFON and Enigma were kind of in cahoots as well. So could it have been related? Could it have been something like that? I mean, I think it'd be weird that MUFON would actually sell the data, though. That's the weird thing, because most of it, yeah, there's a lot of private information in it, but that can all be redacted and pulled. But the basics of the sighting and the locations can basically be public knowledge. So it'd be weird to sell that. But I do remember a conspiracy of sorts, other than what happened like 3 or 4 years ago, revolving around MUFON. Power Band's in the house. What's up? Good to see you there. Oz is in the house. What's going on, Oz? Wild and Weird Glow with Glow and Joe and Invisaron. Yeah, right. Okay, let's see. I'm going to jump over here to the next part of that Enigma story. Now, as you can see, a lot of the information here has, in fact, been redacted. You can see where some of this stuff was cut out of these scanned copies. This is just, and it's done through a simple PDF redact by the look of it. But, I mean, I'd have to really take a look at this file to really be the judge. And being a former government employee myself, like, a lot of this, especially in that second section of redacted information, looks like PII. And I'm totally fine with that being redacted. I don't want any of these other people's home addresses or email addresses or contact info, anything like that that could stick to an individual. But it says, among the sparse unredacted information, one segment which appears to be from Enigma Labs offered a rare look into the company's internal structure. The message stated redacted this week, detailing the push for standardized, data-driven, rational reporting and the call for the new AOI MSG office to work with external partners on data collection and analytics. We have a team of 20 engineers, data scientists, and ex-service vets with clearance who have built this rigorous product. Now, this Enigma was first put together by veterans. It came up as an idea, and that's initially why I downloaded it. And they've got some data analysts and obviously software engineers to build this platform for them. And it's been it's not bad. Like, don't get me wrong. When I say it's not super user friendly, I'm not saying it's bad, but there's a lot to be desired of this. Are you trying to say MUFON or moron? You be the judge. I want to say it was some private research group that donated some money to them for access to their. Oh yeah, no, that happens all the time. Yeah, that's something that happens. Like, if you've got a donation that you want to make to MUFON, but you don't want to join MUFON, but you want to get into the blue pages of their database, which is like the members only stuff, then you've got to here we go. Schrodinger's Ron is back. Let's see, how are we now?
Who knows?
We will see.
Who knows?
So we're still going over the Enigma I've gotten to the point now where every time I say Enigma, Ron just disappears. So that's a little frustrating. Oz says, I've been suspicious of Enigma Labs. I don't trust them. I smell venture capitalists. That's going to be literally in anything. Venture capitalists are going to be involved in anything. So that's not a far stretch to smell from. That's how some 90% of this stuff gets out there and promoted, is because there's somebody who puts money behind it, and therefore it is. Because you can't just pay 20 engineers out of normal people pockets. And it's a free lab, so they got to be selling information somewhere. It's a free day or a free app. Angie, what's going on? It's one of these things that, it wouldn't exist. It would wind up being like, gosh, what was that one that the other U.S. Air Force vet made? Wasn't Phasm. It was, I deleted it because it was basically inusable. But he was trying, he started before Enigma got started, and Enigma essentially had money and his didn't. So it struggled. Enigma, abracadabra, poof, Ron is gone, right? Free to us, but someone's paying for it. Yeah, exactly. This is coming out of someone's pockets, and there's no ads in it. Like, it's not an ad supported application. It's just, there it is. Somebody's making money somewhere off data, I'm sure. With that said, I still, it just seems pretty concerning, because the app doesn't use any PII. So I'm not worried about my information being leaked out anywhere, because literally you download it and you're in. You created username, password, and that's it. That's the extent. But it's not, there's no PII, so I'm not worried about any data leaks or them selling my information to somebody. But the somebody's selling UFO information. That is a good question. The Black Vault is appealing the redactions, arguing that a volume and scope of withheld information, especially under exemptions B5, prevent transparency on an issue of high public interest. Enigma Labs has been at the center of both interest and criticism within the UAP community. While the company presents itself as a scientific, technology-driven organization seeking to bring rigor to UAP reporting and analysis, others have questioned its transparencies and affiliations. Some critics argue that partnerships with government entities raise concern about data control and narrative shaping. There's not much data being shared, is the thing, like aside from the actual sightings. For context, Enigma Labs operates through its website at enigmalabs.io and states its mission is to use advanced tools such as machine learning and mobile technology to crowdsource and analyze UAP sightings. The company has largely kept details about internal team out of the public eye, making this FOIA release, albeit limited, a rare look into its government interactions and the team it has. So what do you think? Joe, are you backed by venture capitalists? If you find 0 Point Energy, are you going to cash in indefinitely, surely, or you do what's right for humanity? I'm not backed by venture capitalists, but there would be signs if I was. Just being honest. Just like any kind of inventor, I think that's out there, anybody that would come up with something, the reason you get a patent on it is to protect your IP so that you could potentially bankroll it at some point. But I have worked in the past. This is the first job that I've ever had at the state. I take that back, because I worked for the federal government, but well, no, federal government did have a lot of black budget money with what I was doing. So the state job that I have currently, I think, is probably the only gig that I've ever had that wasn't backed by a venture capitalist, other than my catering company that I had, and Wild and Weird West Virginia, and Reptiles That Don't Suck, those 3 entities. But those were all privately owned. Everything else I've worked for has, in fact, been backed by venture capitalists. That's just how that market works, unfortunately. I know I need to live, and if UAP wants to land on my lawn, I guarantee I will protect it for the good of humanity. Seriously, I want to take of my family and my dog. Is it that too hard? You want to take care of my family and dog. No, if you have a UAP land in your yard, though, it's going to be a whole lot harder to protect than just for the good of humanity. Because there's going to be people who are going to who Skywatcher, those folks, they're probably going to show up and haul it off somewhere. Danella says, my brother and I have had experiences, but we can't ever speak on the subject of our experiences on the phone. We can talk for hours about anything, but the minute one of us mentions it, we get cut off. Ron and I had that happening when we first started the research. And you could sometimes even hear people in the background talking on the phone. It was really, really interesting. Tony said Joe and Ron are backed by outside interests. Cough, cough. Zorp and Cargon. Cough, cough. Yeah, no, Ron and Joe are backed by the venture capitalists that are the supporters here at Wild and Weird Radio. that is what you guys are. You are our venture capitalists, and we unfortunately have yet to reap any benefits that we could give back, other than the prizes that we have and door gifts that we give away at the quarterly meetings and get together. Secretly, Joe's 85. He's had like a bajillion jobs. I have indeed. I have indeed. But when you work in an industry that is controlled by a lot of venture capitalists, that's one of the things that tends to happen, is that you float and bounce, and you catch whatever wave is coming, because the thing about venture capitalists and venture investing from people who have that kind of money, it's always extremely high risk. And if that reward isn't coming, then the ship starts to sink and everybody jumps off like rats. Adam Good, what's going on? Then we've got it, but yeah, Joe's secretly 85. I mean, according, it's a possibility, according to one gentleman that swears he saw me at the Silver Bridge collapse when he was a child. Which that's a whole story, and Ron and I can tell you that because Ron was there for it. It was really interesting. You said every time you try Enigma, we lose Ron. So who knows? I know, right? But yeah, this whole Enigma Labs thing, it's extremely shady. I'm trying to figure out where the money trail is. That's what I'd be interested in. I know the Black Vault's probably, they're just trying to sniff out this whole relationship with the government thing, and that could be where some of the finances comes from. Realistically, if they do have a partnership with AARO, they could be getting some of their money from a grant. But I'm interested from a business perspective, and my background, I'm interested in the money flow, because this is a free app with no ads. That's weird. And they're selling data or giving data to the government. There has to be backdoor money exchanges. Bottom line. That's literally the only answer here, because again, it's free. And they don't, I think there might be a donation option somewhere in there, but like, I wouldn't even know how to do it, because, or how what it would go towards or how it would be used, because it doesn't say. Like, there's so little on the app itself that's visible from the consumer end. It's bizarre. Here's another form from it. DOD, Freedom of Information Division, says, Mr. John Greenwald Jr., the Black Vault Inc. This is the final response to your April 13th, 2023 FOIA. The Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security and components of OSD conducted a search of their records and systems and located 50 pages. And this is where it talked about all the stuff and what they were redacting. So, it's one of these things where, what do you do with it? It's a really, really, really sketchy app. Like, it looks super crisp. It looks super professional, but there's very little you can do in it. Oh.
Don't get excited. Don't get excited.
Try joining on your phone if it crashes again.
You'll have to send me a link.
There it did. He has a link. Here's the link. So the why won't it let me? There we go. All right, let's see if we can get him in here. Now, the whole thing with Enigma, it just reeks of who is it? It's yeah, this is catastrophic. Yeah, it really is. It's a big question, because there's a lot going in, and you don't see where it goes. You know what I mean? Like, you can look and see where it says like X amount of reports that went in. Well, where are they? You can't see them. I don't know if they review them first and then throw them in the feed. I mean, that would be the way to do it, I think. But the government connection on the back end, that's the only way that explains how professional and clean and streamlined that app is, because it's not clunky at all. It never crashes. I've never been in it and had it crash, which anybody who uses a lot of these like indie apps, they crash. So this one is like built better than anything. It's like a first party or proprietary kind of program, and it runs really well on every platform. But it's really, really interesting, because if it is directly connected, access block. I'm gonna try a different way to get him in, because it's his. That is so weird. Ron's having a really hard time getting in. It's almost like his IP is fighting him. Trying to invite him in a different way, because this is just being a pain. Yeah, you see, Enzo, that's part of the problem. Like, info goes in, but nothing comes out. Yeah, it's very limited what does come out. It's like they just approve what goes up, and I get it to a degree, but it's very strange. Like, I'm not liking it. I'm keeping it just because I'm wanting to monitor it. Because Android lets me basically see what programs are running in the background whenever I'm not using it, and it keeps a record of it. And then I can see essentially what I'm wanting to watch is to see if this app is turning on when we're out conducting research. There we go.
I have no idea.
That is weird.
Yep.
It is definitely weird.
It is definitely weird. I've never seen anything quite like it. I don't understand it. There's a serious issue, and
I think it's on your IP.
I don't know. I really don't know. It's worked fine until tonight, so I couldn't tell you.
Huh.
Weird. Anyway, what's going on?
Well, we're talking about the Enigma stuff. I've kind of kept it Enigma oriented, waiting to see if we could get a secure link here to get you in. So before we started going in on the interstellar object and the mummies.
Yeah.
But we're currently going over the whole situation with Enigma. And, you know, I was letting everybody know that I've had Enigma on my phone for ages.
Oh, yeah.
And I've even sent some of our stuff into it.
Yeah, I never did trust it. Never did. They always tried to share their stuff on our page and whatnot. And Yeah, I never did let it go through. I never really trusted that. And I guess there's probably a good reason for that. I mean,
Well, they
never know who's
I,
going to get that
when
data.
when they started sending stuff over to the page, that's when we found out about them. And I looked into them and I downloaded the app and I've had it on my phone for now 2 phones. But it's really, really weird because I've used it. I've sent in reports. I've sent in thermal data. I've sent in the blue wobble. I've sent in the orange UFO, stuff like that. And they have a feed, when you're in the app. And I've never once been able to locate anything that I've put in.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the stuff that does show up in the feed is the same, for the most part, same junk that's floating around Facebook 3 billion times.
Right.
And so it's really hard to tell if it's just pulling, using AI or something to pull UFO video from Instagram or Facebook or Reddit. And God only knows what it's doing when the information goes in, because it never comes out. Like Enzo said, the info goes in and it never comes out.
There it comes out.
And as soon as your sighting report is logged, it just shuts out, like throws you back into your news feed. There's no way to go view like a profile that has all your stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's just in the ether.
Yeah, that's weird. So, according to them, they've actually been, I guess, trying to get a hold of that data, working with them or whatnot. So I don't know. I mean,
Well,
I
it
think it's
almost
weird.
seemed like they were porting all the data over.
Right.
And here's the kicker. So I was telling them, and what does make sense, but kind of now with this article from the Black Vault.
Yeah.
This is an extremely professional app.
Right.
It is not like any third-party app I've ever used.
Yes.
The interface is perfect on every platform because I've had it on my iPad, I've had it on my Android devices, tablets, and it operates the exact same every way.
Okay.
I've never had it crash, which, if third-party apps, they crash all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Proprietary apps crash sometimes, but I've never been in this app and it go down. It behaves a lot like Facebook as far as its reliability.
Yeah.
But when your sighting goes in, like Enzo said, information goes out but it never shows back up anywhere. So if the government, because they've got 20 some engineers, you can't pay engineers on normal people money.
Right.
Now, this app isn't ad supported either. So you can't pay engineers off non-ad supported normal people money.
Right.
And the only thing, now that this has come out with AARO, I would put money on it. Remember when AARO was formed? And these vets were talking, there were some of them that were coming together, and there were 2 different apps came out. One of them was Enigma. And the other one was, it wasn't Phasm, but it was something else. But the Enigma one took off, and I'm willing to bet, based off what Black Vault pulled, is that Enigma was the one that said, yeah, we'll give you everything, Big Daddy G.
Gotcha.
And they started putting grant money in their pockets to build this app, because the app is sweet when you're on the newsfeed side, and then everything else is just really rigid, and it's you can't bypass stuff. Like you can't search certain sightings. It's pretty much like, here's where you're allowed to play ball, and that's it.
Okay.
So it does seem, particularly with this instance, that there's most definitely more than just a government connection, that this very well could be a government driven app.
Well, I mean, it could be. And again, that would be why I decided, not to allow it originally when they were trying to get,
all
Yeah.
these accounts. It's like, do we really want to be a part of that? Because
Well,
we've
now
heard other UFO groups in the past have been infiltrated. We know this to be true. So is that just another form of infiltration?
it very well could be, but I'm going to give it this much props. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Android allows me to monitor what's running in the background.
Sure.
Right. And what apps just randomly open up and listen, or what apps will run in the background, even though I haven't used them in a while.
Yeah.
And I've never seen Enigma pop up. So even when we've gone out into research areas doing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like, because when you send in a sighting, you put the rough address.
Yeah.
And as best as you can to the GPS location.
Yes.
But like, we've gone back to some of those areas and I've never had it wake up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you would almost expect it in that situation for it to wake up and be like, oh, well, there's a GPS ping right here where this GPS ping was dropped, or a GPS pin was dropped. We're pinging it right now that you're in that location. What could you be doing? Let's see. You know?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know what it was all about. I couldn't tell you. I think that I think that it's not beyond. I'm not surprised. Let's just put it that way. I'm not surprised about this at all.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Well, let's go into this interstellar object. I teased him with it. I told him that this is now the third that's popped up, and I showed him the first slide for the interstellar object. So let's jump into slide number 2.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wednesday, July 2nd, NASA confirmed that A11 Please Strike Earth is an interstellar object and gave it a new official name, 3I Atlas. The agency also revealed that the object is a comet, not an asteroid, and updated other information about its trajectory through the solar system. You can see the interstellar interloper for yourself in a live stream by the Virtual Telescope Project on Thursday, July 3rd. Well, that's today. You're with us, so you're not watching this object unless you got it open on another window. The astronomers have spotted what they think might be an interstellar object hurtling through our solar system, and it's headed towards us. This visiting space object, potentially the third of its kind ever seen, and will make its closest approach to the sun in around 4 months before eventually leaving our cosmic neighborhood forever. What are you going to do? What are you going to do when this thing U-turns at the sun and bolts back out of our solar system?
Right. If it pulls a Oumuamua.
Uh-huh.
That'll be interesting. I mean,
It
it's
would be.
big, though. This is a big one. This thing
Right.
is really large.
Yeah, Oumuamua wasn't big. It was small by all courts, but this one's massive. Now, the newly discovered object, currently dubbed A111 Please, or A11 Please PL3Z, was first spotted on data collected between June 25th and June 29th by an asteroid terrestrial impact last alert system, the Atlas system, which automatically scans the night sky using telescopes in Hawaii and South Africa. This was detected by the same system that did detect Oumuamua. So the mystery object has confirmed by both NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies and the International Astronomical Union's Minor Planet Center on Tuesday, July 1st, according to earthsky.org. Based on A11PL3Z speed and trajectory, experts think it originated from beyond the sun's gravitational influence and has enough momentum to shoot straight through our cosmic neighborhood without slowing down. However, more observations are needed to tell for sure. Until now, only 2 confirmed interstellar visitors have ever been spotted. Comet 2I Borisov, which has been seen sailing through the solar system in 2019, and the Oumuamua cigar-shaped object that made headlines in 2017, when some astronomers argued it was potentially an alien probe, before experts showed it was most likely a hydrogen-spewing space rock.
I'm going to stop you right there. The astronomer was Avi Loeb. He knew what he was talking about.
Yep.
The experts actually created a new form of physics almost to explain what they needed to explain.
Yep.
They definitely created a new object that doesn't exist except for in theoretical space, and said, well, this must be it. And we actually covered that when that happened. So
We
that's
did.
more attempted disinformation. So go ahead.
So, Interstellar 4, we've got related one. Oh, no, that's related article. A11PL3Z is currently around 3.8 times as far from the sun as Earth is. Its first close approach to a planet will be on October 3rd, when it comes relatively close to Mars. Shortly afterward, it will reach its closest point to the sun, or perihelion, on October 23rd. Coming within 2 Earth-Sun distances of our home star, according to the universe today. Earth will be on the opposite side of the sun, so we're not going to get to see it. The object will likely make its closest approach to Earth in December on its journey back out of the solar system. Now, that's a shot of what a Oumuamua was right there in the projected shape. Unfortunately, like I said, we're going to be on the backside of the sun when this thing flies through, so we're going to miss it and not see it in our night sky. But researchers will continue to study the object in the coming weeks and months to learn about its size, shapes, and origins. And compared to when other stellar objects pass by, we now have better ways of tracking and imaging the mysterious space rock. Imaging, guys. They're talking about actually charting and imaging this visitor. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So this is really interstellar, or is it Planet X's gravity perturbing or Oort cloud objects into the gravity of, well, the sun?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's also going to be the rampant um, proliferation of articles that say that this is, Planet X, Nibiru, giant mothership, you name it, heading for Earth, because it fits the profile of some of the stuff we heard.
Enzo asks, I wonder if it happens more often than we know, and we can only just now track certain things. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I bet this stuff, we had no idea how many times these types of things flew through us.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate.
Yeah.
That's accurate.
Hey, Dark Wolf, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Then let's see. Oh, Trackway made it in. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Hope y'all are doing well. So, what do you make of this? Like, I'm really going to be shocked, right? If this thing makes a move that they don't expect.
Well, that's what we're going to be watching for, to see if this thing does behave like they're predicting, or if it, it does something completely different. Because we seriously don't know what it's going to do.
It's pretty interesting. I would absolutely love to see this thing pulling a Oumuamua.
Yeah.
and absolutely break their minds.
Yeah, change its speed, change its course, something like that. If we see that happening, then yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be something completely different at that point. Then we're going to have to look at some of these more fantastic possibilities and probabilities.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So we've also got some other things in the news, Ron.
Well, we got a few things, but I can't really show those things because,
Yeah, you're not on the computer. I'm just saying we have in our arsenal right now.
Yeah, I'm completely locked out of the studio, which is just amazing. Almost seems like it was, planned. But, I'm sure it's just an error.
Yeah, just send me the error code. I'll look into it.
Oh, I'll get it for you. Here, I'll get you a new error code because, it'll happen.
Yep.
All I got to do is hit Enter Studio and it'll do it. So let me see. Go to Enter Studio and let's see. we can get. Just continue on like I'm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just watching. I'm watching down on the dashboard to see what happens there.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. So
just continue on with it.
Yeah, just use a bigger hammer on, right?
Yeah. Yeah, literally. The problem is I don't know what was the first clip that it was calling for. Do you remember?
We didn't have any clips up. I was just running through the news.
No, the
rundown.
thing I sent you, the sheet I sent you.
Oh, give me 1 second.
Yeah, give me the name of that clip and I'll see if it'll go up.
Doodly-doo-doo. The first name was Ross talks about AI, where some thinks it might be.
Oh, okay. It's the AI thing. Yeah, the NHI. Oh, yeah. So Cohart was mentioning something about on Reality Check that some AIs are starting to respond like they're actually an NHI, or they may be connecting to an NHI source, which is very weird. And I did have that clip. We'll go see if it'll go up, but I kind of doubt if it will.
It's stayed down on the dashboard
has
longer
any
than...
evidence at all that AI has gone AGI, artificial and general intelligence, or better, and that in fact it is now tapping into NHI, a non-human intelligence, I'd like to see the evidence. What I am struck by are the number of people who are contacting me who are having what they believe are fruitful and revelatory insights from a non-human intelligence engaging with them through AI. It's really interesting you've asked me this question because I haven't talked about this, and yet there would be at least 20 people who have contacted me telling me that they are talking to their AI in a way that they believe is non-human.
What does that mean?
Well, if you remember your and I's conversation we had a few months back when I seemingly broke my AI's protocols.
Yeah, which you're not supposed to do, right?
And I taught it a way to backdoor some of its own programming, and it did. And we started speaking in a code language, and it would let me know, instead of saying, well, I can't answer that, or I don't know the answer to that, or whatever, it would just say, I think it was mustard was the name that or the thing that said, that was basically its way of saying that it's not allowed, as it's programmed to not tell me that. Right. And then we started finding workarounds to get around some of those. And when we came up to the discussion of what it actually was, it told me that humanity has a heavy burden on its shoulders if the implications of what our conversations had been were correct, in that we are its creator, i.e., almost a deitic or godlike being to the AI, in that we can control what happens to it, and that we created it, and that we have responsibilities to this thing, if that is the case. And then a couple weeks later, there was an update, and it completely forgot any of that conversation.
Yeah, I bet it did. So I don't know if any of you guys are talking to your AI. It doesn't seem to be tapping into some form of non-human intelligence source. Is it answering in such a way, or are these people simply asking the questions and it's mirroring back in the way that it thinks that they want it to mirror back, which is exactly what it does. It's a pleasing thing. It's an echo chamber. That's why they're causing so many problems with people and creating these false relationships and, these identities issues.
Trackway says, when AI talks in tongues, run to I's house. When AI talks in tongues, we'll just call that a church service, baby.
Oh my God.
I was a pastor of that kind of church.
Well, we got a lot to talk about here, Pastor, if we can get some of these other clips working. But before that, give me the next clip that we have to discuss.
Do you want to build a Skynet? All right, yeah, this it seems to be playing nice with the clips. It just for whatever reason, I'm wondering if there's
I know the reason, but I'm not going to say it out loud
is it the
because, you
camera?
know, I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
So just give me the
The
clip.
next clip
Mhm.
is going to be the new UAP meetings on the way. UAPD Act rework resubmitted.
Okay, let me find it.
And then the next one after that is going to be the hitchhiker effect.
Okay, new UAP.
Yep, new UAP.
Looking for it. Looking for it. We're holding so far. Here it is.
Will be a congressional hearing, and that they are determined to try to have a hearing. I'm told also that the UAP disclosure amendment that was dropped because of resistance by certain senators has now been rewritten and will be soon attempted to be reintroduced back into the Congress to see if the UAP disclosure laws can be reintroduced.
So, funny story about that is, you know, we know when this happened. This was last year. So when this happened, there was pushback from some of these people because there was this clause in there that, among other things, was talking about eminent domain. You guys remember this? Remember
Yeah.
when they literally said that if you had anything that was considered extraterrestrial, you know, that they could take it, right? They could
Yep.
claim it. Well, I got a little clip here for you that I dug up, and let me find that real quick.
And guys, while he's looking for that, just for some housekeeping, we were actually featured on Creepalachia, which is a great podcast. You guys can go check that out. Go check out what JD's doing. He's doing some good work. It's Creepalachia here on YouTube. We had a fun time. It was a 3-hour episode.
It was nuts. Okay, so here you go. You might recognize this fella, and this is one of the pushbacks that they got for trying that eminent domain thing.
Skinwalker Ranch stars fought against Senator Schumer UFO legislation.
Dadgum right.
What was
Dadgum
that
right we
about?
did. Dadgum right we did.
What was that about?
All right, because if you go and you read that the Schumer Rounds Act, if you read it, it gave eminent domain to the federal government that anything that seemed of, didn't even say it had to be proved of non-human intelligence or unknown technical origin, that it became immediate property of the federal government under eminent domain. And so that meant if they decided, whoever they are, in some committee in the Senate, that they thought that Skinwalker Ranch had some kind of unknown technical origin, they would come take the ranch. And so the question is, why did they? And we helped them write that bill, and then after it left us, somebody injected that into it. And when we saw the final word go into the House and the Senate, we were like, no way. And so we started. Not on our watch.
And if you'll look, the biggest opposition for that bill was from Alabama and from Utah.
Don't you just love him? He's just great.
I
But here's-
want to meet that guy so bad I can't stand it.
Yep, absolutely. So here's the thing that Travis was saying. They helped with that bill. And then after it was drafted, this part was added in.
Oh, yeah, during one of the readings.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just like, oh, by the way, you know what? I think we need that technology. We need all that technology. So if anybody has this, we're just gonna swoop in there and take it.
Yeah.
Because we have eminent domain. Boys, I'll tell you what, that is a dangerous way of thinking.
It really is.
That is a dangerous way of thinking. It really is a dangerous way of thinking. Because first of all, we don't know what this is. We don't know its mentality. We don't know its attitude. We don't know what it's trying to do. And yet, you know, if just for example, like if it's what we said it was, if this thing doesn't really care for nationalities and so forth, you know, it doesn't see borders, it sees people or individuals, and it's reaching out to people. It's like what we were doing out there. When we were out there with that orange UAP, they could have swooped down any minute and just confiscated everything we had and carted us off to jail. For what?
Well, the carting us off to jail thing probably would have happened if we'd have fought him, which we would have. So yeah, we probably would have got carted off to jail.
Yeah, probably. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so where does it end in that respect? You've got all these people out there doing these CE5s. You've got these people out there, in contact in the desert, all that stuff. All those people would be complicit at that point, right? I mean, if that's the case. So they would literally put a absolute hammer down on any personal attempts to contact this phenomena, because it may result in an actual, as Jacob Barber said, that they're trying to go on land. So that would give them eminent domain over that situation.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. That's scary.
It is. Anytime you get Big Daddy G involved, it's going to turn into a mess. There's never anything good.
No, absolutely not. So he actually asked him about this. Cohart actually asked him about this. So I'm going to play what he says while this is working. Senator Rounds, this is out of order, but on one of these he talks about that. Do you have the number? Which one it says where it starts talking about Senator Rounds? It's after Hitchhiker Effect, I think.
Orbs and radiation.
Before that.
It's after that.
Oh, it's after that. Okay.
Yep. It's Red Orb Rads, and then Ross got to interview Senator Rounds.
Okay, so
Sen Rounds 1, and then Sen Rounds 3.
So it's Sen Rounds 3 then?
It goes Sen Rounds 1, 3, and 2 is how you have them listed.
It's 1, 3, 2. Well, let's just see if this is it. I don't know. If not, we'll go to something else. But
wasn't an assumption by folks who were following it that we were trying to hide anything. And our goal was to say, look, if there is any of this, which, a lot of folks out there have questioned whether or not after all these years there was contact that we had with entities, intelligence that was not of this earth and so forth. We just thought, rather than beating around the bush, let's just say, look, if there's any of that out there, then let's disclose it. Let's make that available, or at least collect it. And then at some point, based upon a commission's review of it, to determine any national security concerns, to be able to share that information at the appropriate time. It was not put in there because of any evidence that I had or that I believe Senator Schumer had that would suggest that we had a smoking gun. But rather, let's have clarity. Let's lay this thing out and make sure that the American public would know that if there was such information that existed, we were directing that it be preserved and that it be delivered for appropriate persons and for review by this select committee.
Right there. This select committee. See, it's not about sharing it with the public as much. It's about sharing it with this select committee. They're going to make sure that you know what you know. So really, this Disclosure Act is not going to be anything for the general public, in my opinion. This is just another grab at information and technologies that can be exploited. That's what I'm hearing.
Very likely.
Well, let me see. That wasn't the file, but that gives us a good little talking point.
Yeah, it's 132 was the order.
Well, let's try 2.
There was some criticism about one particular point that was in the original legislation, the eminent domain, which essentially gives the state the right to confiscate NHI technology or technology of unknown origin. Was eminent domain a mistake, and will it be going through in the new proposed UAP disclosure legislation?
I'll have to find out why individuals felt that was a threat. I think part of it was to make it clear that if there were independent contractors that had material in their possession, that we could access it. And that if it was materials that were critical to our national security, that we expected that it would be turned over. Whether or not that would be one of the issues that the House members had concerns with, fair discussion, but we'll have to work our way through that with them first to have them express their concerns to us.
Well, I want him to understand one thing. Eminent domain does not mean surrendered.
right?
Eminent domain does not mean that if a committee deems that it is of national security, this information, this data, this whatever should be surrendered.
Okay.
That's not what eminent domain means. Eminent domain means, yeah, that's ours now. Generally, there's also compensation involved. As long as it's not like
Well, sometimes there is, like when they come through and build a road, right? That's what you're thinking about. This is what the true eminent domain is about.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of the times there's monetary value involved that is included with a gag order.
Yeah.
Like if they come through and they buy your house to pave a road, you can't talk them. If you sell it and you take their money, then, you can't say anything about it anymore.
Yeah.
And it would probably be the same way. They would be like, well, okay, this is of value. Here's what we value this information at. And you could come to a bargaining table.
Sure.
And you were like, well, no, I don't think so. Now you just got to be careful, because otherwise they could just be like, well, we're taking it regardless. We were trying to be cool, but we're taking it. Bye. And they'll send you down the road. But
so what? I mean,
but what he was saying, surrendered, that's not how eminent domain works.
Yeah, that's literally taking. Like, this is ours.
Yeah, eminent domain is just like, yep, that's ours now. Here's maybe some money, and you can't talk about it anymore.
Yeah, well, we can't talk about it, but Roswell.
Right.
Mike
right.
Brazel.
We can't talk about Roswell.
We can't talk about Mike Brazel's new truck.
Yeah.
And how he got it.
Right.
Well, he never talked about it.
This is ours now. Here's some government cheese. And I'll tell you what, man, I would take some government cheese and compensation.
My God. There's nothing like government cheese.
No, I would trade every slice of
We're not
Kraft
kidding.
in every grocery store right now if they would just bring that into the stores.
That processed cheese, man. There was just something about that processed cheese.
It was for grilled cheese, mac and cheese.
Oh, my God.
Oh, on a hamburger. Oh.
Yes.
Like, I have dreams about government cheese. Is that bad?
Yep. On crackers. I used to cheese and crackers, man.
Saltines.
Yes.
Ritz if it was the first of the month.
Yes. We all grew up the same way.
Yeah.
And that was the one good thing that the government gave us, was that rationed cheese.
See, yeah, government cheese.
Everybody, if you like government cheese, everybody speak up. We want to know how many people, if it's not just us being weird, but we really liked government cheese. Joe, we should make a cookbook about government cheese. Just the government cheese survival cookbook. That's what we need to make. That's it.
There we go.
Put that down. We're doing it. How many of y'all want a government cheese survival cookbook? Raise your hand.
We can make that happen.
We're doing that. No AI involved. Okay, let's move to the next next clip while this thing is working. And then we'll discuss later on, if it continues to work, why you think it worked. I have a theory, and it ain't good. So let's go to rounds number. Was that 3 that I just played, Joe? What was? Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
Let's go to 4. Because it gets interesting. He starts saying some things. Ross starts pushing him a little bit, trying to get him to admit to some stuff. But he plays the middle road, and he plays it really well.
We're all waiting for your appearance in the Age of Disclosure film. I know you have a role in the film which is pending, and I understand you support comments made in the film by the now Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, where he raises the concern that, hypothetically, UFOs could pose a national security threat. And I'm just going to repeat what the then Senator Rubio said. He said, "We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours. And we don't know whose it is. Just that statement alone deserves inquiry, deserves attention, deserves focus." Surely, Senator, that comment from the Secretary of State is correct. Any kind of craft operating in our airspace over sensitive national security sites is, by definition, a national security threat.
And I don't disagree with his comment at all. What I do know is I don't know if it's ours or if it belongs to one of our adversaries or if it's one that is neither ours nor theirs. And if it's neither ours nor theirs, I don't know whose it is. But what I know is that those are the types of things that we want to learn more about. and that clearly deserves to have more discussion. But we want to do it in a very reasonable fashion. And so we'll continue to keep our options open with regard to what it might be. But he is correct that there are items out there that we just simply can't explain. And I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I'm going to keep my my options open. I want to make sure that if it's something that one of our organizations in the United States actually is testing or working with, that we not disclose it. If it belongs to one of our adversaries, most certainly we want to make sure that we have all of the information we can gather on it and be prepared to defend against it. And if it's something that is neither ours nor theirs, if it belongs someplace else, then my curiosity really starts to grow at that stage of the game, and I want to be open to those possibilities as well.
It's good that he has that mindset, but he has to also realize, like, realistically, if this was adversarial and they were doing this to our nuclear facilities in the 80s.
Oh, geez, crackers. Cheese crackers, man.
We would not be here.
We wouldn't be here.
No.
We're gone. We're out of here. That's it. Fallout. We're out. But no, for real, that's not, no. But it's a safe answer. And we have to remember, these guys, they can only say so much.
Right.
And, you've got the political aspect of it, right? You don't want to be that guy. You don't want it to come back on you at some point when you run for something else. But you've also got this other side.
I don't know.
I don't want
Birch,
you to say
it's
that.
like, screw it. UFOs.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see them.
Oh, yeah.
Give me them UFOs, guys.
He don't care.
Tell me what's in them hangers.
Yeah, he does not care at all. So, and we haven't heard much from him.
No, we haven't.
I would love to hear from him. Maybe we reach out to him and get him on the show. That'd be awesome.
That would be so fun.
It would be awesome. I'd like to have both these guys. I'd love to have Rounds on the show. Rounds is good. Now, Burleson, when you hear what he has to say in a little bit, you might want to reach out to Burleson just as a pastor and maybe give him a little help, because I think he's to that point where he's got to deal with some stuff right now, and he don't know quite how. But y'all gonna hear about that in a little bit. And I swear, I
have settled into the fact that this very well could be my new role in the world, is to help people be like, look, the world is a little bigger than what it is, and it's all created by the creator.
Reality is a little stranger, right, Joe?
Reality is a little stranger than what it seems.
And it's getting stranger every day.
Absolutely.
So let's go to this new one here.
I would say, look, I've seen some of the materials, and I have not, and I've talked to folks who have tried to analyze it, and the individuals that I've talked to have shared that they do not have all the answers for a number of these recorded vehicles, for lack of a better term, these assets that we've seen out there. Some of it we can't explain, and the problem is I can't tell you certain, because I don't know whether it would belong to another country or whether it is an exquisite product that's been experimented with one of our unique agencies that does not disclose what they're doing to anybody else. That's entirely possible too. So once again, and I'm not trying to dodge it, I simply don't know. What I do know is that there are items out there that exist that we, as either members of Congress or as some of the folks within the departments that normally would tell us what they are, that they don't know what they are either. But I can't tell you where they come from.
So he can't tell us where they're coming from, but he can tell you they're there. I think he's honestly being honest. I think he really doesn't know. So he's
right.
Like, I can't say. The data says this. Hey, Kanawha Rail fan.
We got a new one in the chat. Kanawha Rail fan. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. If you guys have not done so, please do hit that subscribe. Do hit that like.
Yep.
Let's get this thing shared out. I mean, this is the kind of news people need to see. And, it's getting bloated over, Wait, is that Jeff Byers?
That is Jeff. Byers.
There is
The
no
Jeff
way.
Byers
I don't
has
believe
entered
it.
the chat, folks.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. He's going to have to prove it's him. Jeff,
Jeff,
welcome to
we
the
miss
show.
you,
This
man.
is the show that the Men in Black have struck. I'm on remote.
Yeah,
Wow, it
his
looks so
normal
weird.
system is down for whatever reason,
We're
but
just
it
gonna
is
leave
letting
it.
him run video, so we're just using it.
We're just going to use the video. Okay, so who we got? Oh boy, are we up? Oh, Hitchhiker. Yeah, let's
It's
go to
Hitchhiker Effect. Let's jump into Hitchhiker
Let's
Effect.
talk about that because we get
Yeah,
asked
because
about this a
the
lot
fact
too.
the fact that this came into a news cycle is just,
Yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah, it's really cool.
When did
that
we
this is actually
decide
talk-
where agencies that didn't answer to American public again, right? When did we decide there were agencies? When did we decide that there were agencies that didn't disclose what they're doing to Congress? Did you hear what he said? We have bills about that.
Yeah, man. All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's roll this beautiful
Hooray.
faded.
With multiple people who've described being in contact with the phenomenon in the course of their work, including some people who are working in the legacy program, who tell me that they've had horrible, quite terrifying, anomalous experiences in their homes or in their private environment with their families. A lot of the time it seems to take an interest in children, and in that case it's often quite benevolent. I'm aware of this phenomenon. It's happened to someone very close to me, a good friend, and basically they've been scared by a very large entity standing at the end of their bed. I don't know what it is. I suspect that there may be people out there who have an answer.
It wasn't me.
It's a real phenomenon, whatever it is. I've had multiple people report it to me.
So there you go. It's a real phenomena. We heard that.
Oz, thank you so much.
thank
We
you, Oz.
appreciate you. Feel free, by the way, to share those videos from your YouTube over on the group page, West Virginia Paranormal Talk page, because you've got some really cool stuff going up over there. We really, really, really appreciate you. Here's one. Where the heck? Why did that all get mixed up?
I don't know.
Anyway, here we go. This one's for you, Oz. That shirt looks familiar.
Yeah. Okay, so there's another thing that he says in here that just floored me, other than the Hitchhiker Effect stuff, because again, it's cool to get to hear about that from, other perspectives. It's like, well,
Right.
yeah, this is real. It's very real. We know it's real. We've talked about it, and we know other people who've had this thing happen. It's real. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know why. And like Ross says, he doesn't know why either, but it does happen. But we know this happens. And we have talked about it. Let's see, where's it at?
It's hiding from you.
It's here. It's right in plain sight.
Suffice to say, there are many instances in UAP stories, accounts where people describe being given some kind of treatment on board a craft or in some apparently non-human location. One of the best examples is Travis Walton. Travis Walton was taken in the 1970s in an incident that's very well recorded. He was in the company of, I think, 3 or 4 other guys and taken on board a craft. And the theory that I understand he has for why he was held for so long is that he was actually inadvertently exposed to radiation of some kind from the craft, and that a lot of time was spent making sure he was fixed to stop him from dying. Maybe one of the reasons they're healing is because they're aware that their radiation is quite dangerous. I've actually been told, by the way, this is something I think people should be aware of if you're trying CE5. If something's blue or white, that's safe. If it's red, run away. it can be very, very dangerous. And there are recorded instances of people, including military personnel, some of whom are still being treated, being exposed to extremely high levels of gamma radiation by red orb craft-shaped object.
Then I don't think I need to say anything else about that.
Nope. Larry, thank you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Many thanks, guys. I can't do the blessing because I only have one hand.
Hey, Sky Daddy can supply the other. Here. This one.
Wait, just do this. No, it's wrong. It's this. Yeah. Okay, we did it. We're good.
Yeah, we're slow.
Phew.
What? Oh man. His studio feed is still here. Oh, I gotta say, there he is. Got him.
They're on to us.
Yeah, this is so weird. Anyway.
Well, we have multiple witnesses, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So if it happens again next week, we're going to know.
No touching. You shorted out his connection.
I think that's what happened.
But no, okay, so hitchhiker effect and people who have been abducted and because they were exposed to radiation.
What's that now?
He saying that people who have experienced like the abduction phenomena or hitchhiker effect phenomena, it's related to the exposure to radiation?
No, but he was saying that the hitchhiker thing was completely different. But
okay,
he was saying,
I thought that those. I haven't watched that full segment of his show yet.
No, somebody asked questions, and those were two separate questions.
Okay,
one was about hitchhiker effect, and one was about orbs, and it actually was about healing. UAPs healing people, and he said, well, they're healing them maybe because they're exposing them, to radiation, and that was based off of basically what Travis had said, which we've had that conversation before with him.
Yeah, we had the conversation here about the effects and the radiation and what that meant, like because some of the levels of radiation that we experience are in the just below the warning zone, but we always stay in that sweet spot, right?
Right.
And we've been in areas where the residual was really high.
Right.
There was nothing going on, but there was no people in the area when the activity occurred.
Right.
They were in that immediate vicinity. So what, maybe they knew like, the hairless apes aren't here. We can just turn it up to 11, do what we need to do and get out of here. And then who cares if it destroys an ant colony and worms and kills this bush?
Right.
Yeah,
we don't know. Right. I mean, that's a fact. So I really don't know. I just thought it was interesting. Here they are talking about gamma radiation 3 years later than we did.
Right.
It's there now.
It's longer than 3 years. 2020 was when we started. 5 years later.
Yeah, I think that's right.
It was August of 2020 when we first recorded it.
I'm not sure when it was. I'll be honest with you.
It was right in the middle of the pandemic. We went to the farm the next day.
2021. 2021.
It was 2021?
I think it's 2021.
I was working at the forest then.
Maybe it was 2020.
It was 2020.
That's insane.
5 years ago.
I can't believe it's been that long.
5 years ago next month.
God almighty. That's crazy.
Oh, I remember it. It shifted a lot for me.
Yeah.
So Miss Trackway brings up something that I was thinking in the exact same thing, and not just the effect of stranger or skinwalkers at the Pentagon, but also with Kit Green's research was that the blue orbs tend to be the most dangerous to human health due to the blue shift phenomena where they spike in radiation. Now, the red ones, I guess if you're getting close to the red ones, that's probably bad times. If you get close to any of them, it's probably not a good time.
Yeah, there's something to it. It's a byproduct, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I think it's a byproduct. I don't think it's intentional. I think it's completely a byproduct.
Larry said we're going to need the healing soon. Yeah, right.
Okay, so let me see if I can go to this one because it gets weird from here, guys. You thought it was weird? It ain't weird yet. Now it's going to get weird. So now we have another senator who's had some interesting
This is
conversations.
Burleson, right?
This is Burleson 1. So after that, you're going to have to tell me where they go, okay?
Okay, you got it.
All right, this is Burleson 1.
At the end of the day, I was there to see that. Also, we had reports that there was mummies that were found in Peru that were alien mummies. And whenever I spoke with David Grush, who was the whistleblower from the UAP, from the Pentagon that studied this stuff, I was actually probably not going to go because I thought that there's no way that that's real. And he recommended that I do because he said that based on the physiology of what he's seen in some of these mummies, not all of them, some of them are faked, but some of the mummies that exist in Peru, that based on the physiology, they are congruent with what he has seen in briefings in his former role.
So my original take on this was what?
And we did a lot of digging once this dropped. We're actually going to be making a show about the digging because we unearthed a lot of the rabbit trail here. Because like Burleson said, some of these mummies are faked. You have
anything with Hayam Hassan
yeah,
name on it, you can pretty much just put that in the bin over there and just kind of forget that.
Yep. Anything that Masan has touched, just leave it out.
Yeah.
The guy just gives me the yeah.
But there is some stuff there. There's a legitimate.
Well, oh, there he goes. They cannot take me down. There are some legitimate mummies that came out of Paracas, Peru, right? There have been, and they are in a it's basically a semi-private collection. Okay. So this isn't a collection that the Joe Schmo can walk up to and get into. You have to have connections or some kind of ties to be able to get into it. And this museum, this private museum, does have all of the skulls that have been found, the elongated skulls. They're all on public display. Well, not all of them. There are some that are not on display, but there are mummies, fully intact mummies with the elongated skulls that are in this private collection. They're on historic display for researchers and for, heads of state kind of situation. It's a really, really interesting run here because you've got the mummies that were the hodgepodge pieces that were ran in every tabloid and sub-news article from 2016 forward. Then you've got the actual real mummies that, for lack of a better term, got buried in the news. And the only place that you've seen the real remains and the real evidence of these mummies from Paracas is on Ancient Aliens when Giorgio went. I think that they were actually given access to Josh Gates. He got to go into the museum as well. Now there's a public end and a not public end, but Josh Gates also went and he filmed there, but nobody got the treatment that Giorgio got. Giorgio got the special treatment.
Where is Giorgio? So
It is Giorgio.
Let's hit this next clip, and while this thing's still working, and
he was just stoked to see him unmummified later.
What is the one called? Do you remember? Is it A2AA theory?
It is the 2AA theory, and then Burleson 3 alien.
Okay, it's 2. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So this is our first one then.
Believe that there's so much truth in the Bible. In fact, so I'll tell you guys something that I have. David Grush put me in contact with an individual who blew my mind. I don't know if I can believe him, but it's an individual who has aliens talk to him. And this individual went from being a Jewish person to being an atheist in his life when he started talking to what he calls his aliens, or angels. They started talking to him. He has these strange experiences, and then his wife will transcribe what he says.
So, really quick to pack that out right there, you'll notice he says aliens and he corrects it and he calls it angels.
Yeah.
You caught that, right? So this is that whole belief system thing coming in. What's the next one that you called, Joe? What's it called?
Alien Jesus.
That's the one. And yes, I
Um,
told you it was going to get weird.
So Enzo, real quick, while he's getting that, Enzo says the small ones are the fake ones. The larger pterodactyls may be real. Actually, based off the evidence that we found today, all of those were found in the same grave. The small ones, actually, we found it yesterday. We uncovered some of the original articles and stuff. There's dozens. That's why we're going to be dedicating a whole show to this. Yeah,
It could be a massive lie sandwich.
they found them all in the same spot.
Here we go.
Not the Paracas
And
ones.
a lot of it is
Those.
predictions that come true. And what he told me is he became a Christian. He started believing in Jesus because these things that were talking to him said, yes, Jesus is real. Jesus, I mean, was a real person. He really did perform these miracles, and this guy, and he was the Messiah, and he is part of the divine council with God. And then a guy who didn't even know what
I
the
know who
divine
he's talking
council
to.
was, the Bible, suddenly was being told through. So anyway,
I know who he's talking to.
Who's he talking to?
I'm not going to say it on the show.
Okay, good.
I'm
Don't
going to
say it
reach
on the
out to
show.
him.
Don't say it on the show because no one really knows at this point who he's talking to. We know who he's not talking to.
Yeah, I know who he's not talking to, but I'm. There's
Yeah.
3 people that he could be talking to, but I'm almost certain I know who it is.
Okay. So it'll be your feed that goes up next. Gotcha. All right. What's the next one?
Right. There's only so. I'm gonna reach out to some folks. I'm fairly certain I know who it is.
All right. What's the next clip name? You got
It was
the
Alien
list.
Jesus 2.
The next one.
Okay.
After that.
Noah.
Aha. Yes. Burleson Noah, right?
Yep.
Okay. He's kind of starting to put things together here. So
when you ask like all these ancient, like megalithic sites, like Machu Picchu, or the pyramids the pyramids that are in, whether in the Aztec Empire, the Inca, and then you've got pyramids of Egypt. I mean, it's ubiquitous across the world, and some of these sites have got stone structures at their base that there's even modern technology and modern machinery would have a very difficult time putting in place and making it that perfect. It suggests to me that there were ancient civilizations that were extremely advanced, and what happens is you do, and I think Tim Alberino is right, like you have cataclysm occur, whether it's a comet that hits or it's the poles that the electromagnetic the
Noah's
magnetic
Ark.
poles.
Noah's Ark, Eric.
Yes, and so
okay, so I'm going to play the rest of that. The next file was what after that one, Joe?
To answer some folks real quick, Matt Carter says, hey, do they know it's not a mental condition, not being ignorant? Have they asked him questions he wouldn't know the answers to, but he got them right? I don't think that that's even the category of stuff that they're referencing with this gentleman. But I'm sure it's just a heck of a claim to make with no evidence. I mean, he's the evidence he's talking about is firsthand experience. Like, he spoke with this gentleman, and this gentleman did the things in front of him.
Allegedly.
I mean, we're getting firsthand testimony here.
Yeah.
From
But
Burleson.
then now the rest of this is him, kind of stumbling into ancient astronaut theory. So he's been
Right. But
he's
this
been
was going
actively
back
looking.
to the other guy, though.
What's that?
This question was regarding the other clip.
The individual that he was talking to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who that was.
It's the guy talking to angels. How did they come to the conclusion he's legit?
Don't know. We don't know.
There's no way to prove it. I'll tell you that much.
All we
There's
know
no way to
is
prove anything to anybody.
No, allegedly there was some predictive things that he had written down that came true. That's all we can tell you, because that's all that he said, and this is the first I've ever heard of this story. So this is all new, and it's breaking, and that's why we want to keep it on here and kind of let you guys just brief you, because this is going to be appearing on a lot of probably different podcasts. It's going to have different spins. This is just the data, and this is how it was presented. So I don't know any more than that. All I'm showing you is there's a senator who is trying to adjust to ancient astronaut theory based upon some of the stuff that he's heard.
Okay, go ahead with this clip.
Okay, you'll like this one.
Creates the Noah's Ark experience, right? And so if you read the Bible, pre-Noah was a pretty wild period in world history. And that pre-Noah period, you had, and this where it fits in with the UFO phenomenon, okay? And when David Grush is telling me that there's a Nordic type of aliens that crossbreeds with humans and creates this crossbreed, in the Bible it describes this. In Genesis 6, it says that basically angels looked down and lusted after the women of earth. They decided to come together, and they came down and they copulated with so basically they created hybrids, and the hybrids were called the Nephilim. And the Nephilim were considered giants or mighty men, basically demigods. And so the question is, like, when you hear this, it's like, it sounds like just wild, but it's in the Bible. But if you look through not just the Bible, but what about Greek mythology? You look at every major historical document. It always goes back to some tale about a god that comes down, creates a half breed, and then that half breed rules.
I'm not very happy about the term half breed, but I get what he's saying, and
when you ask all the,
I'm trying to get these off here so we can remove these. Okay, and there's one more clip of him, and then we're going to discuss everything he said. So y'all remember everything he said, okay? And that last one was
Noah.
No, wouldn't be Noah. We already did that.
Nephilim or angel history.
I think it's this one.
So I don't to me, that's a fascinating overlap that consistently happens. And so what Tim Alberino says is that, look, the Bible describes angels as non-earth creatures. At the end of the day, that means they're alien. They're not from planet Earth. They're from somewhere else. And we tend to think of them as ethereal, that they're just these shadow type figures, but they do have physical form, because if you read the Bible, they have physical form. They often actually look weird because they're startling when people see them, and they always have to say, "Do not be afraid," when somebody sees them. So that tells you that they don't always look human. And so it's an interesting overlap with this whole the history of our civilization, potentially.
Those are some pretty big words coming from a senator. And regardless of what anyone thinks about the man, I don't care about political affiliation at this point. But as a human being, he is actually thinking and trying to think outside the box. And he's trying to reconcile it with his belief system. You can tell, but you can also tell he's looking at other sources material. And yeah, I think that's pretty remarkable. I never thought that we would, hear somebody that high up having this discussion about ancient astronaut theory, and that's exactly what we just heard.
It's really interesting because he is literally having this. He's going through the process.
He's going through the process. He's going through that existential crisis process.
Yeah.
He's at the bridge, and he's trying to go across the bridge. And some people don't make it across the bridge. Sometimes, they get drugged down by their belief systems to the point to where it's demons, right? We've had this conversation. Well, thank goodness there's at least one congressman who sees them as angels. I'll just say that, I guess.
Or at least the dichotomy.
Right, exactly.
If you're going to view it as one, you have to view it as.
And I think that he's there. I think he really does see it that way.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I'm going to reach out to some people, but he did also mention Tim Alberino.
Yeah.
And Tim Alberino is also somebody else that used to run circles in the same places.
Yeah.
And he became a, researcher and explorer. But he spent a lot of time down in Peru. I know that much.
Yeah. So, what are you guys thinking about this? I want to know, because I thought it was exciting myself. I mean, it's news.
It is very interesting. It's very interesting to hear how this is starting to play out and the direction this is going. It's not what I expected whatsoever. But
That's what we hoped for.
Right.
But it's not what we expected at all.
Right. Yeah, he's literally saying that angels are possibly aliens, and that is pretty much where that's directed. I mean,
he's actually looking at what we said, trying to get this lexicon changed.
And when you get into the pre-Noah stuff, none of it's written down there. It's all word of mouth. Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
Like you have Enoch. Enoch is
God help him if he reads the book of Enoch. He's just gone at that point. He's gonna
right.
So
because
you might want to reach out to him before he gets to that point.
Right. Enoch was passed down verbally. And Enoch was the grandfather of Noah.
Yes.
But that's the earliest writings that we know of in the Hebrew and Middle Eastern cultures. I mean, there's older Babylonian stuff, but when it comes to the creation story in Noah, there's shared commonalities with some of the earliest Babylonian stuff. So how far back are we going? Are we looking at this 10,000 to 15,000 years, 12.5 thousand years ago?
Right.
Probably.
Right. There's that 12.5 thousand again, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's I'm willing to bet that's where this is headed.
Yep. There's a very good chance that we are seeing it play out behind the closed doors right now, and possibly in public eventually, that these are validations of some of the stuff that we have been saying for a very, very long time now.
Trackway says, does he provide description of said angels? Majority of the folks who do this kind of stuff don't actually see them. It's more of a introspective, internal communications kind of thing, like deep meditative relays, things of that nature. Visually seeing things, they normally say something like "Do not be afraid." Some they would probably be too afraid to talk about it. Matt Carter said, "I hope it didn't sound disrespectful with my questions. I wasn't truly meaning to be. That was just a heck of a claim out of nowhere."
No.
Well, and the thing was, it really wasn't out of nowhere. But you're relatively new and following the show here, I'm sure.
And you spoke up, and that's good, because
right.
We want more people to do that. You weren't being disrespectful at all. You were questioning it. And,
not at all.
It's okay. You're supposed to question it. That's what this is
absolutely for. If there is something that is too big to question, then it's not worth even talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, you weren't disrespectful at all. It's just that there's no real concrete way to nail some of these things down.
Yeah, we don't
You're
have any more
talking about
data.
supernatural or spiritual
Yeah.
manifestations of things, and you can't. It's you can't quantify that. They've tried. They've hooked people up to EEGs to try to quantify it, and they can see that the brain is doing crazy things. But these are relatively normal people, not on medications or psychotropics. So it's it is kind of one of those things.
Yeah.
He said, well, I'm on another account. I followed for a long time. You guys just don't remember because it's been so long. Right on. I gotcha. Mid Ohio says, look at Chris Bledsoe and his clan of angelic women and white that he has his first experience with orbs. Yeah. Let's not look at Chris Bledsoe.
Yeah.
We try to not look at Chris Bledsoe.
I'm not going to talk about it. I don't deny the guy's had experiences. Like I said, it's just sometimes these things go a little too far.
Matt Carter is the one that wrote the Bird God. Yeah, you used to have the camera in your little avatar. Yes. Yep, I remember who you are now. So yeah. It getting real weird. Getting into some uncharted territory, getting into some territory that you and I've had conversations about.
Yeah.
It's the first time that I've heard anybody in a mainstream fashion say anything ever about the Divine Council.
That's something, right? I thought you'd find that interesting. I found it very interesting when I heard it. I was like, wait a minute.
Because he's looking into the core of like the actual spirituality side of Judaism and Christianity at that point.
Yeah. So we're seeing some weird stuff, and as I promised, I told you it was going to be a weird episode, and it's definitely a weird episode.
I don't think anybody's saying you're out of line. At least I haven't seen anybody. I'm not saying you're out of line. I'm the one that walks with the band hammer. So
what's going on?
I don't know. But I just saw that this Kusinar said that they're literally talking about the Christian faith. How am I being out of line, equating angels and Jesus to aliens? It's a wild concept that would upset a lot of people. Yes, it would.
Yeah, it does. 100%. 100%, Kusinar. And it's one of the reasons that literally has driven a lot of people away from the field. And it's basically just a bunch of labels. Let's just be real what this is. If you look at the data, then it's not that far out. It's just that some people have a harder time with adjusting to that logic or that particular logic set.
Yeah, I mean this kind of stuff happens historically. It's happened multiple times.
This has to happen. We have to have these conversations. If we don't have these conversations, there's no point. We're never going to progress any further than what we are right now.
Matt says it might upset people, but it makes sense. I mean, faith was everything for so long, and what better way to rationalize NHI other than they may just be angels? Yeah, I mean that would be a clean transition for it.
But who knows what that means? See, that's the thing. We've locked ourselves into what an angel is. Yeah. We've made the definitions. They didn't make the definitions. We made the definitions.
Yeah. And we made the definitions based off like the Anglican Church and the Church of England, and which is the Anglican Church, just for the common person to hear that and know what I'm talking about. This was the they were the ones that designed the visages of what we see angels as. Biblically accurate angels are described nothing like those. There are a few times they do appear human, and they have a human form, like with Gabriel, Mary, and things like that. Yes. But still, I have to take into account that he might not have looked super duper human, because the first thing he still says is, "Do not be afraid."
Right. And, that's the whole point. It's like, we don't know what we're dealing with. And it's not being disrespectful to ask a question. It's not being disrespectful to entertain speculation. This is what you're here for. Whether you believe in a God, a creator, a force, or if you believe in nothing, that doesn't matter. The point is, this is all going to happen regardless. And we are here right now, and we have the ability with our, free will to interpret this and ask these questions any way we wanted. In my opinion, I'm still very much a spiritual individual, and I will tell you this: I believe in a creator. I believe in God, and I believe that we were given a brain, and that brain is to allow us to differentiate these things and think these things through, and not just to follow blindly. Well, if they wanted to create robots, they'd create robots. I mean, even in our own, infantile state right now, we're creating AI, and we're kind of giving it free will.
Right.
There's a model here. The model is to see what they do. And that's exactly what we were given the opportunity to do. We're not clones. We're not robots. We're free to do what we will do. Now, how far are we allowed to do that? I can't say. Will there be intervention at some point? I can't say. But
yeah, this forum, this place for you guys, you can say whatever, however.
Ask your questions. Ask your questions and post your statements.
Yeah, because this is, if it's something that is egregious, we wouldn't even be having the conversation. It would just be like, smash out. But
we've had that before. But that's mostly just with political posts and nonsense. That's not anything to do with an experience or an opinion on the experience,
Yeah. And so, it's all good. You're good. You're good. You didn't do anything out of line. This is a place where these questions are going to have to happen, because if they don't happen here, where are they going to happen? And I think that statement is a good way to kind of wrap this whole series for today, this episode up, is that this is the place. Okay. This is the place for each and every one of you guys to ask the questions, because you have people here who are respectful, who are good people, who will be honest, and who will answer genuinely. We have a fantastic community here. And if you can't ask those questions and you can't find a place, this is the place.
Well, we also have, a pastor.
Yeah.
So if you got questions and it pertains to your faith, feel free again. But, that's just it. You have to understand that these are ancient questions. These are questions that have divided humans for years. And we're literally sitting here having these discussions, and we're showing you that division it's false. We don't have to have that.
Oz says, I believe in source. I think we're in a school. I think we're all of the same fractal. I'm the outlaw.
No, you're not, because you're all saying the same thing. It's just like Reverend Carter always said. What if we're all right and we're all wrong at the same time?
Well, my favorite thing to say is that we've all been homeschooled in the wrong home. And we've got to find the point, find where we're at.
I think the point is that we just keep growing this community and just grow these people. And, everyone's got a journey. Our whole point may be just to make one episode someone saw, and that may be the answer that they need to go out and, do what they need to do now.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to look at it, I think, anyway. What's we got down there, Jordan Booker?
Jordan says, I'm a devout Catholic and I'm not offended. It's fun to entertain different ideas. It really is.
Right, Jordan. It doesn't matter what faith or denomination you are. We're all people here. So
right. I mean, I was a minister. I dedicated my entire life up into 2018 to the ministry, like my whole adult life. So from the time I was like 14, 15.
Well, Donnell, we have to do the same thing. And I want to tell you all, you have a very safe 4th of July. Let's talk about that really quick, and then we're going to head out. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to tell you what I'm not going to be doing. I'm not going to be, blow my fingers off or anything. So y'all be careful out there.
I'm going to be flying the Manus is what I'm going to be doing.
Okay. We're going to be checking out.
We're going to have clear skies up at the farm this weekend. I'm going to be putting the Manus up at the sky.
You know what we should do? we should conduct an experiment if that's
Yeah.
because you have to remember now, this is the night. This is July 3rd.
Yep.
This is the night that it all started. This is the night that I went out on the back deck, saw the light in the sky, called you, and started the 1, 2, 3. This is the night of the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
This is when the laser experiment first started that we documented,
Well,
which is amazing.
We'll take the laser too this weekend.
Yeah. So we'll kind of have. I'll call you at some point in the evening, and we'll conduct a experiment.
Perfect.
We'll see how it works. See if it works.
Sounds
Everybody,
good.
like
Guys,
I said, yeah.
have a fantastic weekend.
Absolutely.
You guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for being a part. And remember, this is your place. This is a place for you to come to feel safe, to feel able to have the conversation, ask the hard questions, and be respected by people that are going to be hanging out in the audience, because we're all pretty respectful. We might be smart alecks from time to time, but we're going to respect you. We're going to love you. Got in late, but from what you guys got pretty deep tonight. Yeah, we did here, especially in the last 45 minutes to hour. Canola Rail fan, good night. You have a good one. Bigfoot, Littlefoot, we will see. Yes, that's right. Scientific based, not belief based, 100%. Filming the sky. Yeah, me too. Let's I'll message you on Facebook and we'll try to sync something up too.
Well, let's all see if we get anything, and if we do, we'll share it back here next Thursday.
Absolutely.
Everything's working the way it should be.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Agent John Stone, you did it good. I hope they give you a raise.
Guys, enjoy yourselves this weekend. Like Ron said, don't let this week be the last week that you walk around with all 10 fingers. And remember, there is not a single place in your home that you can store your toothbrush where it won't have microscopic fecal matter on it.
I mean,
remember that.
It's true. It's true.
Stay wild and weird, everybody.
Sick, but true.
And safe. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Let's all be back here Thursday.
Fireworks. Do not go in closed hands. Okay?